Suspect in a recent deadly shooting here in Las Vegas was taken into custody in Omaha, Nebraska. State Patrol investigators there say 34-year-old Samario Williams was stopped by officers in downtown Omaha last week after they noticed he had marijuana, which is illegal there. He was eventually taken into custody, but not after throwing a package containing hundreds of fentanyl pills out. He faces drug charges as well in Nebraska. And Metro says he's also the suspect for a deadly shooting near Sandhill and Bonanza on August 11th. He is awaiting extradition to Nevada from Nebraska.